Hello, 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 beautiful people. Welcome back to an episode of the USL Show. It is great to be back. Another week, another episode of Full House. Oh, and by the looks of it, Portland has scored another goal. So, welcome back. We got a lot to discuss with you all tonight. But first things first, wearing an absolute beauty of a kit and a nice hat itself. Phil, how are you?
I felt like, given what's happened tonight, there was no other way to honor what Portland have done than to sport the match day attire of our trip. And I can't help but feel like this momentum, despite their kind of horrible recent form up until this match, I can't help but the momentum that Hearts are carrying into the playoffs has something to do with the fact that we visited there.
I mean, new show, new live show bounce. We're going back, guys. John, how are you?
Doing well. I will say, if history is any indication, sorry to the Oakland Roots, because we just did not give them any good vibes.
I mean, we gave Glinton a new contract.
Yeah, and that famously went really well.
And that was it. That was. I think it's Biden's fault. I think it's Biden's fault.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Alex.
Yeah, like everyone else, just finished watching that wild Tuesday night match. Biggest crowd in League One history and most goals scored in a single half in league history. Yeah, but Benji Wade from Spokane Soccer Show, if you're out there listening, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Although I wouldn't be listening right now if I were him.
Yeah.
That's fair. That said, I mean, really fast, Alex. I mean, Portland expanded the stadium. This was the first time that they've had the stadium expanded, and they just immediately sold it out. That's awesome. Shout out Portland because they're just insane. Ryan?
Yeah, doing well. At least for Spokane's perspective, they have at least confirmed they're finishing no lower than third. Unfortunately, they have a very easy matchup against, Omaha next.
At the tail end of a brutal road trip from Naples to Portland to Omaha in the same week.
Notoriously very easy road trip from Spokane, Washington.
Feels so bad for them.
I've heard it's been a good week anyway for sporting fans from the state of Washington, so I'm sure they have something to hold their hat on.
Yeah, nothing else of significance. No brutal blows.
You had to go there.
Sorry. Well, look, before we get too far into this episode, I want to go ahead and thank our newest patron who is giving back to the person who needs it most. Thank you, John's landlord, for joining the Patreon. We greatly appreciate you. And if you want to be like John's landlord and Don Garber, Luke Loudon, David Horn, Josh, Dylan Reed, William Land, Cindy Lester, Ryan Smeltzer, Matt Atpeel, Andrew Towsley, All the Hedgehog, Kunal Patel, MOS, NF 30, Tim Knox, Rion Lacara, Stephen, Jeremy Churchman, Alberto Aguilar, Noah Telford, Michael Fuchs, Joshua Duder, John Fuller, Christopher Cohn, Frank Anthony, John Hunt. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. If you join the Patreon, you can get us to say funny things with your name as long as it's not derogatory. So
John's landlord subsidizing the podcast. This is the future that Zoran Mamdani wants. It's already happening.
Free buses.
Wake up, New York.
Podcasts. Yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, right back to back, I got to say that John's landlord and Don Garber are, helping support the show. So
Andrew Cuomo would be the funniest one. That's the next one. Whoever is next, Andrew Cuomo, that will be the funniest one.
Brand new sentence.
Andrew Cuomo, thank you for subscribing to the Patreon.
Well, we got some news before we get into some decision day preview. First, we got to start off with a USL legend, and we throw this out there a lot. If there was a Hall of Fame, they'd be first ballot. But how do you not say that Rodrigo Lopez, Roro Lopez, would not be a first ballot Hall of Famer in the USL Hall of Fame? He announced today that he is retiring at the very end of this season. This is someone that I had a chance to meet this year after the Legion Sacramento game. And I just told him, I was like, man, I appreciate everything you've done for this league. Like, it's just an honor to meet you. And it's just a super nice, super gracious guy. It's going to be weird to see a USL season without him on the pitch, but he's immediately moving into an academy role and helping out Sacramento continue to grow throughout the years, which is just really fun to see.
Yeah, and to put some numbers behind it, like he's made 167 appearances for Sacramento, 45 goals, 49 assists. He was there year one for them when they go on and win a title. He was there when they made the US Open Cup final. I don't think there's a player that embodies the Sacramento Republic more. And I don't know if there's a player that in the history of the USL has had a better career, frankly. Like, I think we're talking about somebody who is on the Mount Rushmore of the league. And I will say personally, having interacted with him a handful of times over the years, one of the nicest, most gracious people that you ever can come across. He really sets an example for, I think, what star players in the USL should be. So I hope the best for him going into retirement.
Yeah, I think something like 87 goal involvements across his career. Just a guy that impacted every team that he was a part of, and for all but one of his, USL seasons, basically was Sacramento. And I do have to give a brief shout out to Christian from Seriously Loco, who, when it was clear he was available in 2021 and ended up signing for RGV, was on the campaign trail trying to get Rodrigo Lopez to sign for El Paso Locomotive. He is that guy. Like, he's just got that sort of gravitational pull both on the pitch and off. And just a wonderful person, a wonderful career, and a lot to hang his hat on. And I'm just glad that we've gotten to watch him ply his trade in our league for the last, 7 years.
And even from his time before Sacramento, he was someone who had played for Orlando City when they were in the league. He played for Ventura County Fusion and the PDL as someone who was one of the original path to pro type of players who really embodied playing in what is now League Two, to move into the championship and to have become a mainstay within the league and have made an impact at all the clubs that he had played for. Or I'm not sure how people feel about certain numbers being retired within an organization, but if you're going to make a case to retire a number, Rodrigo Lopez's number for Sacramento is certainly one that has a really great defense to it.
So one thing, and we've already talked about just how great of a person Rodrigo Lopez is, right? And talking about how big of an impact he is. If you have not been following the league for a long time, or maybe you just don't remember, a few years ago, his son had a heart issue that was going on, and there was a GoFundMe page that was created by Luis Felipe that basically just said that Roro would not ask for help, but we want to help him. We want to help out with him and do anything we can to lighten this burden for Roman and Roro and the family. And I don't know if y'all ever saw the number that ended up coming out from that, but the USL community, because of how good of a teammate, how good of a human what he was, $34,594 were raised. And that's just the kind of reputation that Rodrigo Lopez has. Not every player would get that kind of treatment. In fact, I don't want to make this a comparing game, but I don't think any other player would get that kind of treatment from the wider USL community. He's just universally beloved. And on the pitch, and I know this is not a Sacramento memory, but man, I think it was Mike and Devin basically were just like, man, Rodrigo Lopez is so old. He's just so old. Look how old he is. And then he scores a free kick in the playoffs to eliminate Phoenix. That is just a core USL memory I have. And then he kept doing it for 4 more years. And John, you mentioned today on Blue Sky, and I think on Twitter as well, that he's legitimately all USL still right now. It's not like this is a pity, he went out with the whimper. He is still legitimately one of the best players that this league has to offer.
Yeah, 100%. And frankly, he's going to be vital if Sacramento goes on a run in the playoffs. It will be because of Rodrigo Lopez's creativity through the midfield. The fact that he's 38 and still performing at that level is insane.
Can I just briefly say too, from an organizational standpoint, the fact that he's moving straight into Sac Republic's academy, like, I know that it seems obvious, and not every organization in USL does stuff like this. I think it's vital that he's moving into that sort of role. He's the type of guy, the type of personality that you could easily see managing in the future because he is able to build relationships so quickly. He knows the game. He obviously has succeeded at such a high level. And keeping your stars in the organization at retirement like that is something that a lot of organizations do not get right. So credit to Sac Republic also for making sure that they keep Roro in the family.
Any other thoughts before we kind of move on really fast? All right. Well, everybody's favorite thing to do in terms of USL talk, expansion. USL Reno. Reno is back. They're not going to have the old moniker, unfortunately, unless they buy the trademark, which they could do. But, I mean,
quick
we'll
pitch
see.
As one more, Reno 1869. And
Love
just
it.
keep the counter going.
Every iteration is one more Reno.
268, too furious. But they were announced, and Alex had kind of mentioned before, we all assumed that this Reno was coming, but we thought it'd be League One, but it's being labeled as Championship, which I find to be a fascinating decision. But we'll see. We've gotten some pictures of the renderings of the stadium that they are planning to build, which I can't really think of any of the expansions lately that have not had a stadium plan alongside of it. So clearly that is becoming something that's being heavily incentivized by USL along the way.
Well, we'll talk about one shortly up in my neck of the woods that maybe doesn't have a stadium plan. What I will say about Reno, 2019, like the last pre-pandemic season they played, they had a higher attendance than Colorado Springs, Pittsburgh, Charleston, Orange County. Like, this is a community that can support USL Championship soccer. And then you project forward with the stadium effect, right? That's something that gets fans in seats. It's going to make them a ticket from year one. And just trying to read some of the tea leaves of how the league has presented this, there are certain expansion efforts where you get the announcement and they're like not showing it at the halftime news package of the broadcasts. It doesn't feel like it's being pushed. There's clearly a lot of confidence in what is happening in terms of this Reno project. So yeah, it's great for the league to add another team in the West Coast, given how East biased a lot of recent growth has been. Reno's a market that matters. Seems like it's good for all involved.
Yeah, it would have been nice to have a USL 1 team on the West, but we've been tracking this one for a while, and then it just pops up as USL Championship. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I understand, Reno 1868 did not fail due to attendance issues, but more because they couldn't find a stadium. Is that correct?
Yep. Yeah, no, attendance-wise, they were always one of the better attended clubs. Yeah, I mean, they were yet another ballpark club, and it seemed like that was really the end of it. And it was rather shocking because it was kind of the season ended about a week or two ago. Here's just a news dump. Goodbye. There was no rumors. There was nothing. It was just kind of happening, which was bizarre. That was one of the few that truly caught everybody off guard. Honestly, not too dissimilar to Memphis 901 just this last year. May they rest in peace as well.
And may they return one day.
Memphis 902.
There we go. There we go. 902 in USL 1.
902. 902.
Reno 902. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
getting somewhere here.
Yeah,
Where are we going with this?
We've got it. No, I think I think this is a bit of a balance thing for USL Championship, because I think they are trying to figure out their Lexington issue of they don't want a team in the East. Like, that should definitely be in the East in the West. So I do think that this is a bit of a, like, just pure geographic. And if you've got a stadium plan, championship is probably fair, given that, like we've said, that's more than we've gotten from a lot of these expansion teams.
You say that, but like, think about Boise, where you're paying what, 15 million less in expansion fees. All of that money can go into privately. Oh, Phil is so upset. that he
Phil
dropped out.
was so disgusted by your rebuttal that he had to leave.
No, but it's like, I mean, having talked to people who make these decisions at the ownership level, if you can join League One, get your things together, build the stadium, and save that money, and Pro Rail is right around the corner, why go to the championship? And especially given how League One has grown, you're cutting down on the travel costs as we get closer to regionalization at some point. The value proposition of what L1 offers is just improving over time.
What's interesting for me with Reno is when they had left USL in 2019, their nearby teams was obviously Las Vegas, who shared the state with them, but like in more kind of nearby realm was Sacramento, and then you had Fresno at the time, who are still in the league, but now they're going into kind of that same region where you have an Oakland team who's nearby, you have Monterey Bay who's still there, Las Vegas is still within the state as well, that there's at least a lot more of the footprint and kind of filled out within the region. And if you're looking at other teams such as the Spokane, the Sporting Cascades going up in Oregon, Spokane up in Washington, Boise, that there is at least a lot more of a USL footprint that's being kind of filled in terms of if you're looking at this as USL as a whole rather than just the championship or just League One. So they're at least returning to having a lot more teams kind of within their neighborhood at the time. But I do agree that it's very much trying to, I guess, balance out the championship right now. But the two other things I kind of jumped out to me with Reno is the stadium that they had planned out almost looks like a mini G-Tech stadium for Brentford, or at least that was the vibes that I was getting of having that kind of be kind of that enclosed atmosphere. And just a quick trivia question for the group. Does anyone know the player who was the leading goal scorer for Reno in their final season when they were in 2019?
Dane Kelly?
No.
Forster Langdorf.
No, this player did score 18 goals.
18 goals.
And it wasn't Dane Kelly?
No.
Oh, gosh.
Are we going to? Is this a name that we really know?
Yes, it absolutely.
Oh, geez. Can we have a hint?
You guys just want me to say it?
Yeah.
Sure.
No, I kind of want to get it, but oh my gosh, who would have been playing on those old Reno teams?
Yeah, we have a guess in the chat that I like.
Musovsky?
No. Nope.
Okay. Are they currently playing?
I'm
Corey Herzog.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, Corey Herzog.
Oh, our favorite. When in doubt, it is Corey Herzog.
Yeah, I had to tie together. What would the relevance be here? And it's a boy.
Awesome. Alex, on like John mentioned, there are expansion sides that are coming through with their stadiums in League One, right? We're seeing the Fort Wayne, who has a branding announcement coming, which I don't really understand. I like their branding; it's fine.
Yeah.
There you also have Corpus Christi with Ayman Zayed. You have Atletico Boise. Lots of teams that are joining in with stadium plans. And a lot of people point out 6K seats, it does fit the championship standards, but a lot of people feel like it's a little short-sighted. Are you a little bit shocked with this?
No, I think it. I mean, it seems like everyone's counting on the standards, the Division I standards being dropped. That's that. I think everyone's counting on that.
It's not workable otherwise. So yeah.
Yeah.
Bold. it's a bold idea, but it's okay.
It's bold, but
Austin?
you know, if enough clubs are asking for it, maybe it'll happen.
An Austin bold idea.
There we go.
Oh, may they rest in peace.
So as far as USL Championship, we have allegedly Brooklyn and Jacksonville joining this year or this coming year. Anybody else? Is that it?
That's the group.
And then everybody
That's
else
it.
is 2027 and beyond.
Yep.
Yeah, emphasis on the beyond, probably, but yeah.
Yeah. So 2 more East Coast teams joining in 2026. Who moves? Birmingham?
Birmingham for
Probably.
sure.
Yeah.
It becomes
I-
difficult
Well,
at that point.
it
they wouldn't
seems like a
wouldn't dare
lot.
move Louisville, right?
No. And plus,
Yeah.
they would not, especially when you have Indy, you have Detroit, you have Pittsburgh, and I don't think they would dare break up what's happening between Charleston and Louisville right now. So I think that the very obvious answer here is Birmingham, especially since there is literally no one close to them regionally. They're the pretty obvious choice to go.
And then supposedly in 2027, you have Dallas, Milwaukee, Reno, Santa Barbara, Oklahoma City, maybe one day Iowa. Do we move Lexington and Birmingham east?
Yes.
Yeah.
What we actually should
And-
do,
and
and I've
somebody
been beating
else?
this drum for years, Central Conference.
Yeah.
Yes,
That'd be
the
great.
St. Louis FC Central Division.
Yeah. It's that once a year thing where I get to beat the drum for the Central Division. So I'm doing it.
Yes, and Buffalo, if Buffalo still exists.
Buffalo, hey, trust Peter Marlette is all I'll say there.
Okay.
Peter Marlette is that guy. So, do we want to talk about Brooklyn?
Oh, we should. Because we've been
So-
very doubtful about Brooklyn. And here they are today.
Yeah, Brooklyn appoints Brian McBride as their general manager ahead of 26 men's debut. So former U.S. men's national team Brian McBride is going to be overseeing all sporting operations for men's and women's side, roster construction, technical staff, the whole thing. He is going to be their Super League and their USL Championship guy. I saw it mentioned earlier today where they were talking about the difference in how much time they're getting. This is October 21st, and you essentially have, what is that? That's 6 months, maybe less, to prepare for a USL Championship season, as opposed to Connor Smith at Rhode Island, who was appointed as the general manager almost a year and a half prior. So it's definitely feels short-sighted, but also they already have a Super League team running, so maybe they feel like they already have a handle on things, and all they have to do is just start signing players.
Yeah, I like that they reiterated 2026 as part of the announcement. So we were getting a little worried.
I think they only made season ticket deposits available today, which is kind of crazy. But on the sporting side of things, I'm at least working with the presumption that there has been more going on behind the scenes than we're maybe privy to. And McBride is going to be the first domino because he steals the headlines, right? Like, he's the former U.S. national team player. He was the GM of the U.S. national team, which to me sounded meaningless, but apparently that meant like he was in charge of coach hiring and worked with the manager to like build squad depth charts and work.
And we saw how that worked. Softest U.S. men.
Yeah, exactly. So warning sign for Brooklyn, apparently. But no, but in all seriousness, I think McBride comes in and demands a level of respect from anybody who understands the American game whatsoever. If you want somebody who can come in and be like statement of intent for what this team is going to be, I think McBride does a good job of that.
And at least looking at it from the championship perspective, if we're looking at, I guess, squad building moving forward, we already have at least 5 teams who are currently eliminated, and we'll have at least 3 more added to that list by Sunday. That there are still at least players on those teams who could very well have their heads turned by an opportunity in Brooklyn. That it'll be interesting to see kind of how the squad development will kind of like progress over the next few months. But I do agree with you, John, that there's probably a lot more that's been going on behind the scenes than that has been announced.
Like, I would be shocked if they didn't have a coach right now, is what I'll say. Recruitment is happening. Players are signed, and we just don't know it
Has to
yet.
be.
Like,
Yeah.
if Brooklyn hasn't done anything to that end, they are already woefully behind. So glass half full.
McBride coach.
And we saw it with Stockley in Lexington when they literally just did not hire anybody. We also saw it down with Texoma, where, and I'm blanking on coach's name, Adrian Forbes,
yeah.
where he was hired on as the assistant or general manager, and then nothing. One thing I'm interested on this Brooklyn side, and I keep going back to our interview with Ollie that happened earlier on this year. But one thing he talked about was, how do you make Loudoun attractive when they are the highest cost of living in the USL? Brooklyn blows them out of the water in terms of cost of living, especially with uncertain CBA issues going on behind the scenes. Let's say the CBA does get sorted and there is a marginal pay rise. John, I don't want to talk about your finances necessarily, but a player making, let's call it $40,000 a year,
Yeah.
how is that going to work out in Brooklyn? Right? That just does not feel sustainable for anybody. And Phil, you tried to say something, but you're muted again.
They have to pay for housing. I mean, they have to pony up. Brooklyn has to pony up for that housing portion of the pay.
And given the Westchester example, the answer is overpay relative to the rest of the league. Like, that's just the reality of it for the market. When I talked to Matt Rosetta for a piece about D1 and whatnot earlier in the year, he kind of honed in on the fact that really the club's approach across the board is, we want to try to find international players who are maybe a little bit undersung, guys who have been prospects at some point in their career and for whatever reason just haven't had it, but are attracted by the idea of, hey, I get to come to the States, play in New York City. Now, that can only be a portion of the roster, of course, but I think if you can get a base with that, which requires scouting and is going to be a part of what McBride is doing, maybe that's a scenario. But yeah, undoubtedly, it's an interesting market to navigate at the lower league level.
Phil, are you back? Are you alive?
Yeah, I'm here.
So was it the fact that you don't want to talk positively about Boise? Or
listen, I love Boise. And it was just poor coincidence, unfortunately. I'm excited. I am genuinely excited for Boise because I think it's one of those, like, I hate to make it like an overhyped thing, but like a Portland-like market, in that I think people don't 100%. Understand what is there. So yeah, no, I'm extremely excited for Boise. I was chiming in to say that we keep making Mamdani references, and we're gonna, like, he's gonna make Brooklyn viable from a CBA perspective. USL ownership is like, please, like, players will actually come to it. So anyways, anyways.
Well, do we have any other thoughts on Brooklyn? All right. Why don't we go over to decision day? And we're here. There are teams who are alive. We have teams that are officially dead. We have a wooden spoon finale going on this week. We have a lot of stuff that's pretty fun. But we're going to start with League One, where the only spot that's available is number 8, where you have Charlotte, AV Alta, and Forward Madison all fighting for that final 8th playoff spot and the right to play against one Knox or possibly Chattanooga, but probably one Knox. And that's obviously going to be a lot of fun. So we're looking specifically at Charlotte, AV Alta, Forward Madison. Alex, kind of give us the rundown.
Yeah, Charlotte, they have the cards in their pocket with 37 points, 2 over AV Alta and Madison. Charlotte can clinch that final spot with a win or a draw. They're playing at Naples, so that's kind of rough. But yeah, they clinch with a draw or a win, and they own the tiebreakers with AV Alta and Madison, which is how they will clinch with a draw, because they have 2 more wins than each of them. They can still clinch with a loss if AV Alta and Madison either lose or draw both, and if now the wild card is if Charlotte loses and either AV Alta and one of them win or both of them win, it goes to tiebreakers between AV Alta and Madison, which will probably come down to goal differential. Currently, AV Alta is 3 up on Madison. AV Alta plays in Portland, which we just saw how rough that environment can be. And Madison will play in Richmond, which also should have a sellout crowd. But Madison has not really had any problems with Richmond this year. And Richmond has just been on barely alive mode the last couple of matches.
Henny Derby to close the season, like that's just
the script writers knew what they were doing.
Well, the script writers,
Madison's already won it for the season, but
well, I was going to say, look at Madison having to go Union Omaha and Henny Derby back to back, take on your 2 biggest rivals. Just do that, and oh yeah, you just got killed by Union Omaha, and now you have to go face the other ones. No thanks. Absolutely not.
But like I said, Richmond has barely shown a pulse in the last couple of matches, so who knows? I think Charlotte definitely has the advantage here.
So what about other seeding that's going on here? Now, this is not as chaotic as it was it 2021 when Tormenta won it all, when on the final day they could have either finished second or been out of the playoffs altogether. I think that was 21. And this is not that. But, we still have some fighting going on for that final playoff spot. You could realistically see Portland, FC Naples, or Union Omaha all finish in that final 4th spot for home playoffs.
Tormenta has an outside shot to do it, but it's going to take a lot of goal scoring.
Yeah, a lot of goal scoring.
I mean, Portland could do it. Maybe Tormenta can.
But that is so we're really looking at a fight for that final spot, and then Chattanooga versus One Knox. They're not playing against each other, but we still have a Players' Shield to fight over, a final home playoff spot. For you, Alex, what are you kind of tracking on both those fronts?
Yeah, so the Players' Shield is between Knoxville and Chattanooga. The Players' Shield will be someone who has never won it before, and will also be from East Tennessee, which I thought was pretty cool. Knoxville will be hosting Greenville, which is eliminated. Chattanooga will be hosting Westchester, also eliminated and fighting to not win the Wooden Spoon. But neither Knoxville can't finish lower than second. Chattanooga can't finish lower than, I think, third at this point. And Spokane can't even finish lower than third despite tonight's result. Spokane is now eliminated from winning the Players' Shield. But, I think Knoxville holds a clear advantage here, hosting an already eliminated team at home where they've just been dominating over the last half of the season. But Knoxville, all they need to do is win, and they're in. They can also win with a draw as long as Chattanooga doesn't close the goal differential gap, which is currently advantaged for Knoxville by 5 goals. So they have a clear advantage there. And they could even win it if they lose to Greenville, if Chattanooga loses or draws to Westchester. So looking good for Knoxville.
If there was one team that I would, if I was having to rely on goal differential to win me the title, the other team playing Westchester might be the worst thing I could be seeing right now. But,
Yeah, if Westchester falls back into old habits, Chattanooga could possibly run up the score there. But
Chattanooga,
what about
not
the rest
really
of
a
us?
run up the score kind of team.
No,
which I think
they
is,
aren't.
Yeah, kind of their Achilles heel in this situation. But you never know, given the matchup. I do think Westchester has shown some heart for sure down the stretch, and Obregon is going to do his thing. I would lean 1 Knox, but going to be the fact that every single thing from number 1 through number 8 is pretty much contested is kind of awesome heading into decision day.
Yeah,
And
that
the fact
final
that
home. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, and the fact that the Shield is being set up by 2 teams that are like within a 90-minute drive of each other. Like, have we ever had in not just League One, but also in the championship, like that close of a battle going into the final day? It reminds me of Helicopter Sunday that Scotland had a few years ago. Oh, for Rangers and Celtics to decide that title. But like, that's already a really exciting kind of fixture list ahead of us, and especially for Knoxville, who have yet to lose at home this year. Getting that number 1 seed is imperative to their success in the postseason.
Yeah. Speaking of home field advantage, there are multiple teams fighting for that final 4th spot. Omaha has put on quite a run for the second half of the season and is now holds that spot just by a point. With Portland's win tonight, they now have 44 points. Naples has 44 points. Omaha has 45. So it can still go to any of those 3 teams, I think. Omaha will be hosting Spokane, ironically. Naples will be hosting Charlotte, and Charlotte must win to stay alive or draw. And then Portland hosts another must-win team in AV Alta. So it's going to be an exciting matchup for all weekend. And then Tormenta, who is making the playoffs for the first time since their championship run in 2022, they have a long outside shot to host, but they would have to close that goal differential between them and Omaha, which is currently at 7. So they should be looking for that 5th place spot, which they can clinch with a win over Texoma, who they are hosting. And then if Naples and Portland lose or draw, Tormenta will win the tiebreaker on total wins.
So I'm going to Phil, you have something?
No.
Okay. So I'm going to go round robin. So I want to ask everybody, who wins the Shield? 1 Knox, Chattanooga. John, starting with you.
1 Knox.
Alex?
Yeah, 1 Knox.
Ryan?
Knoxville.
Phil?
It's Knox. I mean, the form is just next level compared to Chattanooga, who are kind of limping in.
I'm going to be
Chattanooga learned how to score goals, so they're dangerous.
I'm going to go 1 Knox, but I think it's going to end up being a tied on points decided by goal differential. So there's that. Final playoff spot. Is it going to be Union Omaha, FC Naples, Portland, or Tormenta? Pick one of the 4. John?
For me, it's Omaha. That form is irresistible. I will say I want it to be Portland because I want that team to host a playoff game.
Fair. Alex?
Yeah, I want it to be Portland or Naples, but it's so hard to argue against anything Omaha right now.
Ryan?
Yeah, I see it's going to be Omaha. What's going to be really interesting to me is who ends up in that number 5 spot, because you don't want to draw Omaha right now in that first round. And imagine if it's Tormenta who get that number 5 spot, the 2 teams with the hottest form in the league right now facing off in the first round.
Oh, pump it into my veins.
Phil?
I'll say that Portland snag it just because it is a vibe. And I will also say that if Omaha hold on to that spot, I think that's trouble for the league. Because I think you're almost looking at like Knoxville, Omaha down the road in the playoffs for that reason. I don't think anybody wants to play those teams right now, and anything you can do to avoid them is probably the right move.
Yeah. And for Portland to make it there, they would need to win against AV Alta, and then that would have to see Omaha draw or lose with Spokane and Naples draw or lose with Charlotte.
And I will say draws in those games are the things that I think feel possible. It's just one of those where I'm like, is it that crazy that both of those games end in draws? Like, it's not. But yeah.
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Union Omaha. If
That's
you're a podcast only, just go to this point of the podcast and just go to the live chat. Especially
that's
Stray.
like the craziest thing because that's a joke that was relevant like 2 years ago.
And
Like,
when
that's
does it
not
hit?
even a recent
But it's
thing.
still funny.
And it is still funny.
Still hits.
I'm also going to go Union Omaha, and I just think, like Alex said earlier, Spokane is coming off of just road trip from Hades right now, so I just don't have trust in Spokane at the moment. Not really their own fault. They kind of are stuck in where they are. I would not be shocked if they just rest all the starters, knowing that they are secured for home playoffs, and just see what happens. Just rest the folks. Let's go ahead and talk about number 8, Charlotte Avialta, Forward Madison, John.
Charlotte, because of that wins tiebreaker, because I think that they are good at just gritting out a result when they need it, they're going to be the team.
Alex?
I think Charlotte's inconsistency might come back to bite them, but I'm also not confident with AV Alta at Portland getting a result, or Madison at Richmond. That one could truly go either way. So I guess I'm going to have to. I guess end of the day, I am going to go with Charlotte, like somehow, but it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be like one of those scenarios where they're either draw or lose, and rely on AV Alta and Madison also drawing or losing.
Ryan?
Yeah, I said a few weeks ago that I think Charlotte, just of the advantage that they have, they're going to just kind of like fall backwards into the playoffs. Naples hasn't scored in one Avengers Endgame in terms of runtime. And so, like, that is at least a concern that I could very well see Charlotte Naples being a 0-0 scoreline, but the inconsistency of at least AV Alta down the second half of the season, although they have won at Portland, I'm not betting against Portland after a 6-goal performance that they had. And Madison, like, it's tough to really kind of gauge how a Henny Derby is going to play out, especially in front of a sellout crowd on the final day. So Charlotte with the draw, and I think Madison, maybe they tie it on points, but come up short in the tiebreaker.
Bill?
I really like the idea here of picking AV Alta because it's a complete impossibility with my other pick, and just having no self-awareness. I honestly, I think it's going to be Charlotte just because I think too much has to happen for it not to be. But and I think the trip to Portland is too much for AV Alta, so I think it's advantage Charlotte. I love the idea of some nonsense happening in the Henny Derby that leads to Madison like squeaking in. That to me feels like proper sort of like folklore type stuff for USL League One. So I would love to see that, but I think it's going to be Charlotte.
And that would be a proper end to Richmond's dismal season as well.
Yeah.
Because Richmond also would be in danger of winning the wooden spoon if that were to happen. If we'll get to this next, I guess.
Oh my God. That would talk. I mean, this would be so brutal for you, Alex. So I would apologize. But if Richmond got a wooden spoon, Madison got into the playoffs and swept the Henny Derby, that would just be.
Yeah, that'd be the
gross.
icing on the cake.
I'm going forward Madison here. I think with FC Naples and Portland both fighting for that final home playoff spot, I think both teams are going to be putting a lot of fight the entire time. There is no just kind of resting on the fact that we're in the playoffs and we don't have anything to really fight for at this point. I think that those are the two worst teams that Charlotte and AV Alta could have drawn for a final game. Meanwhile, Forward Madison, they are playing against a Richmond team who's going to be playing in a sold-out crowd with it being the Henny Derby, fighting not to be the worst team. But I have a fear that if Forward Madison gets an early goal, that is just night. Like, that is turn out the lights, we're going home, we're in the playoffs situation.
And
So
it'll be
I'm
Derek
going-
Gebhardt too. It'll have to be
Yes,
Derek
of
Gebhardt.
course.
The
That's
GOAT.
fate.
The GOAT,
There you
Derek
go.
Gebhard. I do love that Kaylor teed up that whole segment by being like, man, Alex, that's like basically worst case scenario. That'd be really rough for you. I
We
think
all
that's
know.
what will happen.
We all know.
I think
there's
that
no
will happen. I
Yeah,
think that
there
will
is-
happen to you.
there is no expectations of greatness in the Richmond fan base right now. I can assure you of that.
It's like, man, that
What'll
would be
be-
brutal. And I think
We'll show
happen.
up. We'll show up, but we do not expect good things.
Yeah.
What'll be really interesting to follow on Saturday is the fact that all of these games for these three teams have a staggered start. That you have Portland AV Alta starting at 5 p.m. on Saturday, Richmond Madison at 6 p.m., and then Charlotte Naples at 7 p.m. There's going to be a lot of people checking their phones for scores during the second half of that Madison game.
You'll know who the sickos are.
You will know.
Truly.
There, I won't say anything, but there will be signs. Any final thoughts on League One?
It's been a fun season,
It has been a fun season.
an unexpected season. And I once again I want to apologize to the Chattanooga Red Wolves for pegging you to finish in 13th place.
They tried their
I
best
did you
back
one
half
better
of the
with
season.
14th. Yep, that's right. Yeah.
They tried their best back half of the season to make you correct, and they just they got out to too far of a head start.
I mean, they put up enough wins in the first like 2/3 of the season where it really hasn't mattered. They're still going to finish second or third, and they still could.
Well, how about
they still could win the Players' Shield.
True. Well, how about we go over to the championship now, where I want to start with the Eastern Conference because it's a whole lot quicker of a conversation, although we do have a wooden spoon battle where we have Birmingham Legion, Las Vegas Lights, and Monterey Bay all fighting for that wooden spoon to not be the wooden spoon, where if Las Vegas loses outright, they are the winners, losers of the wooden spoon. If they manage to get a point, I think that Vegas might have beaten Legion this year. It all blends together. So I think they actually have tiebreaker over Birmingham, which would put Birmingham last for wooden spoon. We might talk about that at some point on who we think is going to win that. We didn't even talk about it with League One, but either way, I just thought I'd throw it out there. So let's start off.
Las Vegas is playing this weekend for the wooden spoon, though, is Monterey Bay.
Yes.
The scriptwriters really had a great idea with that one. That's going to be the game I'll watch on my TV.
Man, and Monterey Bay was so good to start the season.
I had no faith. I'm sorry, Kelpie. John noticed that Kelpie has a tail. Everything is going weird for me. I don't know.
And the tail looks like they've like hit a full fish under his back. Like it doesn't look like it's part of him, which I really like.
Let's look at the Eastern Conference because I think it's a quicker conversation. Everybody from Lou City, Charleston, Hartford, Pittsburgh, Loudoun, North Carolina, Rhode Island, they clinched this weekend after everybody wanted to fire literally everybody. They made it into the playoffs. Now it's Detroit City, Indy 11, and mathematically Tampa Bay Rowdies all fighting for that final 8th playoff spot. What are we kind of tracking for the Eastern Conference? Because there's a couple of seeding things. The final home playoff spots, really 2 playoff spots, Hartford and Pittsburgh are not solidified into 3 and 4. You could see Loudoun and North Carolina flip that into 3 and 4 as well. So 3 through 6 up for grabs. What are we kind of tracking here?
Yeah, so a couple things in terms of tiebreakers and games to watch. One, like Tampa Bay is very much in this because they play against Detroit.
Yeah.
So if they beat Detroit City and Indy drops the ball, which is kind of Indy's whole deal, then Tampa Bay is going to make the playoffs. Indy, if they win and get some help with a draw or a loss from Detroit, they're in as well. And Detroit just needs to take care of business. That is the simplest of things before we get to the West, which we are not going to do the scenarios for because it is disgusting.
The
I think
simulation, truly.
The simulation went
Like,
wild.
You have to
there.
hit simulate game and just let it figure itself out.
Sneaky game of the week is Loudoun and North Carolina just play each other, and potentially whoever wins that is going to get a home playoff game. So big stakes there. That's going to be a fascinating one. So that one and then Detroit, Tampa Bay are really, I think, the games to watch.
I would say like Eastern Conference too, like the degree to which the script writers cooked on this, like Detroit, Tampa Bay being in this position and playing each other in Keyworth, right? Like, or no, sorry, in
Lang.
Al
Lang, sorry, down in Florida. So you have that game going on. Meanwhile, you have Indy having to play Orange County, which you're like, well, that's random. That doesn't make any sense. Both teams in their respective conferences on the cusp of the playoffs. Like, it's a must win for both, basically. That, like, the jigsaw that has come together on the final day is truly beautiful. And whoever did this at USL, like, I know that technically you didn't know any of this was going to happen. And I think it's made for a very compelling last day of the season. And we get like this sort of like us. I don't even know what you call it, but it's almost like a Super Cup match or something like that. Of tomorrow, Sac Republic plays Charleston in a game that doesn't matter for either team, right? Like in terms of the actual outcomes of the season. And we just get a nice little midweek treat of two of the best teams in the league squaring off with no stakes, just to see that. And then the chaos starts over the weekend, and we get to see.
You want to talk about Super Cup? Louisville and Hartford, the Players Shield winner and the Jägermeister Cup winner, are just playing each other casually.
Literally.
So yeah,
literally love that. Also, just a casual note for Louisville. I know they're not part of this discussion. They basically haven't been part of the discussion of this entire season. And I do just want to say what they've done this season is truly insane. They are by like far and away the best team in the league. They're truly like it's like watching a team from a different league partake. And they've allowed 19 goals this season.
They've
played 29.
They've lost once. They've lost
they've
one
lost
game.
one game. They've played 29 times. And they've allowed 19 goals. Like, that's disgusting. It's honestly an affront to the sport.
They're blitzing the points per game record.
In a just world, Louisville City would be moving up, and DC United would be coming to USL.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with what Connor
Troy
Elliott,
Lesesne,
Jordan Farr,
welcome back.
Sylvania in there, DC United is kind of a USL team already.
Troy Lesesne heritage.
Yeah.
I mean, what Louisville did this year is what Rochester did 2015 with having the one defeat on the season. They're putting up 2019 Phoenix Rising type numbers in my UA ratings. Like, this is a team that could arguably say this is the greatest ever regular season USL team that the league has ever seen.
And to bring it full circle, Rodrigo Lopez's first ever USL goal came against the Rochester Rhinos.
Really?
Huh.
Bob Lilly. He scored against Bob Lilly. Crazy. So let's kind of talk about what's going on. So aforementioned Hartford taking on Lou City, to end this season. Is Lou City going to rest players because there is no bye? So they're probably just going to go full steam ahead and try to get people minutes, maybe rotate early. We have Pittsburgh taking on Phoenix Rising. We'll talk about what their playoffs situation is looking like soon. They still technically have not clinched. Loudoun and North Carolina just playing each other. When we're looking at the final two playoff spots, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. I don't care about the order. I just want to know down the line who's going to be getting the final two home playoff spots out of Hartford, Pittsburgh, Loudoun, North Carolina. Mathematically, already two of those or one of those are already kind of eliminated in your brain, depending on who you think is going to win between Loudoun and North Carolina, or if they draw, none of it matters.
I'm
John?
doing tiebreaker math, so give me 1 second here.
You're thinking this logically. We need clickbaits, John. Clickbait.
Okay, Pittsburgh and Loudoun, because I think Pittsburgh will draw Phoenix.
Okay.
So that puts them even on points with Hartford. They beat Hartford recently, so let's just say they have the tiebreaker. Then in the other game, Loudoun is going to beat North Carolina. So then they jump them all, and it's Loudoun and Pittsburgh. Boom.
Very good. Alex?
Let's see who's playing. Okay, so Loudon is playing North Carolina, and Hartford is playing Louisville.
We're all doing that like Zach Galifianakis seeing math. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with North Carolina beats Loudon.
Ooh, okay.
I'm gonna go bold there. So that would put North Carolina in the final spot if Hartford. Shoot, I don't know. Pass.
Yeah, okay. Ryan?
I have Pittsburgh beating Phoenix, and then North Carolina has actually never won in Loudon before, so I do have Loudon winning that one. So Pittsburgh 3, Loudon 4, Hartford 5, and then Hartford beats Loudon in the first round of the playoffs.
Fine. Phil?
Lads protocol in effect. North Carolina wins on the final day. And I think, God, this Pittsburgh Phoenix game is flummoxing me.
Yeah. This
Particularly
is the one
given what's gone on for Pittsburgh. I'm gonna say that Pittsburgh biff it, and so we get that would give us North Carolina and Hartford home games. So yeah, I think I'm trying to hit every permutation across our hosts. So we've got now Hartford, North Carolina hosting games.
The worst case scenario here is that Pittsburgh loses, North Carolina and Loudon draw, and we end up with a 3-way tie on 43.
I think you mean best case
by
scenario.
the way, if you want to see a smart person talk about this, Nicholas Murray has an indispensable column just breaking down every single scenario. Like he's got what happens with every single permutation of tiebreaker. It's remarkable work. So
now that
don't
would
listen
give it
to
to
us.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would give it to Pittsburgh based on
The
goal
3-way
differential.
tie would go to Pittsburgh.
On goal differential.
I don't.
I want
That's not the
whatever
tiebreaker.
I want whatever
They do like a
tiebreaker
weird
gets
round
us to
robin
the
of it.
lottery.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Whatever gets us flipping a coin.
Friday Night Lights style.
Yeah.
This I did mean to say this. The fact that the championship has the worst tiebreaker system in human
Oh
history,
yeah, it's
and
totally
League One
different
is
than
just-
USL 1. I had
Yeah.
no idea.
Yeah, and League One is just like wins and goals. Like I have
Yeah,
no
it-
idea why they do it like this.
Today I learned.
I think I'm going to go Pittsburgh and Loudon. I think Pittsburgh's going to draw, and I think Loudon's going to win. So I'm going to go Pittsburgh, Loudon, which also means that there is still a world, just a world where Loudon hosts the USL final and we end up there somehow, which I'm just heavily rooting for the entire way. So, but I think that's the direction I'm going. I think Pittsburgh's going to draw and Loudon win. So
I'm all about that
that's
scenario because that's a 2-hour drive for me.
I was gonna say my parents are about an hour and change south
Yeah, I've
of
got a brother in DC, so let's go.
There we go.
the lodging costs free.
Yeah.
All right. Now, final playoff spot. Detroit, Indy, Tampa Bay. We mentioned Detroit, Tampa Bay playing each other. So Detroit wins, they're in. Indy is going to be taking on Orange County, who is also fighting for their playoff life. Not a fun one for them. Aforementioned Tampa Bay, you know what happens. What do we have for the final playoff spot?
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. Alex.
You know what? I want that chaos. Give me Tampa Bay. A 14-loss team. Bring it. Team that's hovering at the bottom of the table almost all
14
season.
loss team that changed their coach mid-season. That's what we need.
Yeah.
Traded away, goalkeeper. Like let's do it. Let's do it. Racked with
All I'm saying is that
riddled with
there's-
injuries. Like good for. I'm cheering for them. Like good for them.
All I'm saying is that there is a team with only 12 losses right behind them. If we want the team who loses the least, there is an option. It's fine. Ryan?
Tampa Bay, Detroit hasn't won a road match in the league since April. That's 10 games without a victory away from home in that time. And I think what's going to be the most sicko stuff about all of this is that we won't have the confirmation of Tampa Bay getting in until like 1 a.m. East Coast time, because that's when the Indy 11 match will conclude out on the West Coast. So it'll just be really cool seeing COC and more of a testament to Cassiato's, tenure as Tampa Bay Rowdies manager, that take over a team that like all of us had said were like pretty much kind of like out of it from now to bringing them into the cusp of a playoff spot has just been remarkable.
Phil?
Yeah, give me Dom's Rowdies. I thought that was going to be the least selected way, so I didn't mean for this to be a clean sweep, but it's objectively the most fun outcome is this Tampa Bay side somehow finding a way into the playoffs. And then I don't know that there's a coach that you're more concerned about facing in the playoffs than Dom Casciato, because he's just always got it done in Omaha. So I don't know. I think like they become a problem if they make the playoffs. So I love the idea of Dom and company getting rowdy in the playoffs.
Also, John, do you happen to have the link for Nicholas Murray's?
Yes, and I will send it into the chat.
Thank you. I'm really torn here because while I think that Tampa Bay is going to beat Detroit, I am really hung up on Indy 11 right now, on what they're going to be doing with Orange County. My brain is telling me to not pick Orange County, but I've also seen Indy play.
Yeah.
That's
That's the big problem with Indy. You have to see them play.
I think okay, so I'm going to click this link because I don't know if Indy draws.
Yes. They have the tiebreaker over Detroit, provided.
Okay.
Oh,
What
in a three-way tie, I think it's Tampa Bay, if that's what we're getting at.
Okay, so if Tampa Bay
Yeah.
wins and
Yes.
Indy draws, Tampa Bay would have it.
That's correct. They win the 3-team mini group per Nicholas Murray.
I'm going to
We can get a
Detroit.
3-team mini group for the home playoff games too.
Anytime you have to go to the 3-team mini group to decide who's going to the playoffs, your system is too complicated.
You're doing too much. Do less.
I'm going to go Detroit because I just have this feeling that they're going to grind out a draw and none of this matters. I know that Indy can still make it in, but I don't trust Indy to win. I think that Detroit's going to grind out a draw and get that final playoff spot, and they just get to play Louisville. So there's that.
Indy they are traveling to Orange County, so there's a chance that Detroit wins. Indy's going to kick off hours later and be like, we have nothing to play for, which I think is the most soul-crushing scenario that could happen here.
Meanwhile, on the West, which we're going to hop over to, that would be great for Orange County because they are sitting at the bottom and they are tied on points with Lexington, where we have everything to play for. Lexington could finish as high as 5th, ? Same thing with Orange County. Basically, if you are, or really you're looking at Phoenix, who could jump up to 4th, but that's about it. You could be having El Paso, Phoenix fighting for a final playoffs, home playoff spot, but everything else is weird. You could see Lexington pop all the way up. You could see and take over Colorado Springs. San Antonio is not safe. Technically, Phoenix is not safe. There's a lot of, Phoenix is not safe. There's a lot of chaos happening here. So I'm going to just start this off with this. Do we think that El Paso gets the final home playoff spot secured this weekend?
I can't believe this is even a thing. Like I am so beyond shocked that this season has led to, like, 9 like mediocre soccer teams in the West will make the playoffs. There's only 8 spots. There's only 8 spots. No, that legitimately there are 7 teams here that I'm like, I don't know if they belong. Right? Like it is so all over the place. In El Paso's defense, they've gotten results. They've like kind of weathered the storm. I still don't think they're very good. I don't think New Mexico is that good. I don't think Phoenix is very good. I don't think San Antonio is very good. Like, I genuinely don't know that there's like very good soccer teams in the West. That being said, I think El Paso, San Antonio away is just such a problem for them always. It's sort of the spiritual successor to RGV away, which is just such a problem always. And I just don't like the matchup. I do think there's a very real possibility that that El Paso like stumbles on the road here and fumbles the home playoff game away.
I think what we have to consider. Yeah, go ahead, Kayla.
That would involve Phoenix beating Pittsburgh as well, which that is an ask. But Phil, you also kind of predicted it earlier that Phoenix would win. So if you're already in doomer mode, which you kind of was there,
I'm already. I mean, because so it logically follows that if I have AV Alta losing and Portland winning, then I have Pittsburgh winning. Anyway, I'm stuck in the permutations.
Yeah.
Sean.
We're talking about El Paso.
No, you had something, and then I interrupted you.
What we have to think about is that, like, San Antonio is playing terrible soccer right now. Like, they can't do anything. So by default, I think El Paso gets the result. I do want to throw a good word in for Phoenix, where I hate the matchup against Pittsburgh, but sneakily, since they switched to the back 3, they feel like the dark horse in the West once we get to the postseason. So seeding regardless, like, I'm trusting what Phoenix is doing right now. And if they miss the playoffs, it would take like a small miracle. Like, they're going to be in.
I did want to say, like, I know it's Tulsa. I wanted to remind myself of the stats. The draw against Tulsa for Locomotive was like nothing short of miraculous. The way that they came out in the first half, Tulsa should have been like 5-0 up at halftime. It was a complete battering. And it doesn't even necessarily bear out in the stats, but like the reality was that like Locomotive were trying desperately to lose that game and then snuck an opening goal. And this is where I think it is a little bit strange for El Paso, because the reality is there for all to see that like they are capable of some truly embarrassing results. And for whatever reason, they seem to hang around in these things and like get a goal when they need it and maybe hang on for a draw, whatever. Maybe this is a Wilmer RGV 2021 vibe of it's like, I don't know if this team necessarily belongs here and they can definitely do damage in the playoffs. Like, I don't know. It's just a very strange situation. I just don't trust them away at San Antonio.
I will say El Paso has not lost away at San Antonio since April 2022 when Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was in theaters. So it's been quite a while since it's happened before.
Shout out to Ben Schwartz. I also, the other thing I'll say about El Paso is that they tried to like fight. There was like a couple of fights that they tried to start with Tulsa. And this is something that El Paso has done over the years where they get feisty, like when things get tough. And I do worry about fights in San Antonio, even if the soccer is like pretty poor, and maybe multiple suspensions heading into the playoffs, because they always seem to find a way to get a little feisty in San Antonio. I'm thinking Lucho did maybe a Diego Simeone celebration at San Antonio, if people are catching my meaning, a couple of years ago. So
let the Yuma flow through you.
Exactly.
Okay. So I'm just going to go down the line. Final play at home playoff spot. John,
El Paso.
Alex,
Yeah, El Paso. Despite any result in San Antonio, I think Phoenix is going to draw at Pittsburgh. So
Ryan,
Locomotive.
Phil.
Phoenix, lock it in.
I love the cynicism.
I'm going El Paso. I think with Phoenix drawing, I think Phoenix is going to draw to Pittsburgh, which I think is going to seal it. So I'm going to go with El Paso because of that, regardless of their results. All right. This is the stuff we wait an hour and 10 minutes for. The bottom part of the playoffs. It is a mess. We kind of laid it out for you. Lexington, again, could finish as high as 5th. You could see anybody from realistically Colorado Springs down not making the playoffs. The only team that you really have to worry about is Lexington at 9. We're going to focus mostly on the, I think, 6 through 9, but there's just so much chaos here that I'm just going to realistically ask the question to you guys. Is this final 6 through 8 the teams that will be in the playoffs?
I don't think so.
And to give you guys a
I-
little bit more
I
time to
agree.
think,
No,
I'm going to give you guys a little bit more time to think on this. Those teams would be Colorado Springs, San Antonio, Orange County. Colorado Springs and San Antonio both have 37 points. Orange County is tied with Lexington on 36th, but have the tiebreaker, and they are in 8th. So the only change you could see at this point would be Lexington popping in somehow. So I've heard 2 I don't think so's. So how does Lexington make the playoffs, John?
Well, they play against an Oakland team that is already eliminated and doesn't have Panos Sermanakis healthy. I already just said I think El Paso is going to beat San Antonio. Do the math there. Suddenly you've got one team out, San Antonio, and one team in Lexington. Boom.
That's come on. That would be like dreamland.
Yeah. And Lexington, like, they just got Latif Blessing in. They've got tons of good attackers. Kendall Burks is fit. They feel like they've got momentum, results aside, where San Antonio has just been spiraling. They're very injured still. I don't know. There's a sense for me that San Antonio just doesn't have it in them.
Alex?
I'm gonna agree. I think that I know I've talked a lot of trash about Lexington over the years, but I think this is the year that they finally get in, playing at Oakland, already eliminated. And I think it comes at the expense of San Antonio.
Ryan, do you think this is the final grouping, or do you think Lexington gets in?
I think Lexington gets in at the expense of San Antonio as well. Like, San Antonio hasn't scored in 5 games. I know the last 4 that they played have been away from home, but I just don't have any faith that San Antonio can get a result here. If El Paso gets 1 goal, I think that'll be all. Well, I think that'll be the match for Locomotive to get the win, and San Antonio will be on the outside looking in this very cruel game of musical chairs.
Phil?
I think we may have a situation where a very sputtering and poor San Antonio team gets bailed out by the fact that Colorado Springs plays Tulsa. And I think we could see Lexington. I do think Lexington get in, and I think that San Antonio may just make it in the playoffs by the skin of their teeth by virtue of Colorado Springs losing to Tulsa.
At Tulsa. And I mean, Colorado Springs is not in great form either, if we're being real about it. Like, they just got shellacked in Charleston last Monday. That's not a team I'm trusting much right now.
Someone who has the article that they can see it really fast. What would be the tiebreaker between Colorado Springs, San Antonio, and Orange County if they all finish on 37?
I don't know, because it's really hard to navigate. Which teams are we talking about?
Colorado Springs, San Antonio,
Yeah.
Orange County. Because I think that Colorado Springs is going to lose to Tulsa. And I'm going to assume, like, we're just going to take that.
Colorado Springs looks like they
or
finish
even
last
just Colorado
in any
Springs
of
and
these.
Orange County. Or
Yeah.
let's say Orange County and Colorado Springs. Because I think Orange County is going to
The
get
moral
a draw
of the
versus
story
Indy.
here is that Colorado Springs really does not have any tiebreakers. Like, they did not take care of business against the West.
Okay. So if that's the case, I'm going to say Lexington gets in with Colorado Springs as the team that falls out. I think they're going to end up tied on points with Orange County, and we're going to assume that they do not have a tiebreaker over Orange County here. So I'm going to say they're going to end up tied with Orange County on points, but miss out via tiebreaker. You're going to have Orange County who's going to get in via tie with Indy 11, and Lexington is going to be in with at least a draw over Oakland, because as we saw versus New Mexico, Oakland has literal fight in them, so there is that. They are still showing signs of life despite being eliminated.
The last 5 games have been both teams to score for Oakland, so.
But this is chaos. I think Lexington's in. I think it's by the Colorado Springs Switchbacks, your reigning USL champions. By the way, we have not talked about that a lot because the West is just stupid. But I do have our reigning USL champions missing the playoffs. Maybe, depending on how the tiebreakers work, because the championship is so dumb. And listen, I know this is, unfortunately, the person who's probably going to have to hear the most about this would end up being Nicholas Murray, because he's the person we go to when we talk about these things. We know it's not your fault, but when the people who think about this league way too much, have no idea how the tiebreakers truly work.
It's not even that we don't know how they work. It's like you have to look things up to
It's
understand.
very difficult to look this stuff up. It was so easy for me to do 3 different scenarios in USL 1
Yeah.
today. I would not. I wouldn't. I would just give up if I was trying to do this in the championship.
Need my TI 84.
AI won't even be able to.
The
handle it.
Jägermeister, the Jägermeister Cup was known to have insane tiebreakers, and I understood it better than this. Like, I felt
Yeah.
like I didn't have to work as hard
Absolutely.
as this. And Jägermeister was killed for being insane. It's fine.
I will say one last little plug for the West is the fact that I do kind of want 4-5 to sit where it is right now, because Locomotive Rising in the first round, which produced 2 of the craziest games in the championship, bar none, like the 2 matchups between Phoenix and El Paso were insane, like patently this year. So I think getting that in the first round guarantees goals. So if it's gonna stay this way, like y'all are saying it is, then I hope that's the matchup, because I think that would just be fun.
And Las Vegas
A lot
wins
of
the
chaos
spin.
here. Who wins the spoon? So we have Monterey Bay and Las Vegas playing each other. God, I don't think either team's going to win, which just tells you it's a draw. But if it's a draw, that means Birmingham wins it, because they're not beating Charleston. It's not going to happen. So I'm going to go with Birmingham getting the spoon.
I agree, and I just want to point out, and I really don't mean this as a salt in the wound kind of thing. I didn't realize that Birmingham only won 5 games this year. That's not great.
We only lost 12 times, guys. That's less than Indy, Tampa Bay, and whatever.
The 12 draws is really insane. Like that's the
brutal stuff.
24 non-wins is really, really crazy. Like,
Yeah, so
Evan
long
Lawson.
story short, Birmingham spoon.
Name it the Evelyn Lassa wooden spoon.
now Now, in your defense, Kaler, though, in a slightly longer championship season last year, El Paso 26 non-wins, 18 losses. So only to be outdone by Miami's 29 losses. So that's the only thing that spared El Paso from the spoon was shout out.
Which I'm glad. I'm glad that's yes. I'm glad the segue's here. Where was it was the question earlier. Oh my gosh, where'd it go? I'll find it. I will find it. Yeah.
I will say Las Vegas has just one, like they have just one win under Rensing since he's been appointed. So it's not out of the question that Monterey Bay can win and like confirm that the spoon resides in Las Vegas where I can visit it over Christmas.
Las Vegas is in that little mode where every time I watch them, I'm like kind of like what I'm seeing. And then you get to the 90th minute and they've lost. So I trust the process. Yeah. Notarino, let's go.
Is that showing up?
Yes.
It is showing up. Yeah.
And it's 63 for the negative 63 goal difference that Miami had in that season.
Yeah, I think they gave
That's
up
not a number that he
something
wore.
like that. Yeah.
Minus 63 goal difference. Shout out. It may
Alex?
never be repeated.
I'm going to pick Las Vegas. I think Monterey Bay will take care of that. I know somebody in the chat was trying to compel me to pick Birmingham Legion, but I'm going to go with Las Vegas.
Ryan.
Yeah, I picked Las Vegas for this one. I just I think Monterey Bay win on their final day.
Yeah, at home. I think that's a good call.
Yeah, congratulations, Birmingham. We got silverware-ish kind of thing.
At least one Birmingham team beat a Memphis team this year.
Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Everything is fine.
Phil, we were supposed to be brothers in like misery together, and now you guys are getting home playoff games without us. And I just don't think that's okay.
Well, last year there was like a polarity switch of all of a sudden like El Paso was bottom and Legion did Legion make the playoffs last year?
No, we did not.
Oh, well, never mind then. No, I think it's Vegas, and it's strictly because that would mean that Notarino was connected to 2 wooden spoon winning seasons in a row. Despite his early dismissal in Vegas. So
the GOAT.
Keep the tradition alive. Embrace tradition. Vegas with the wooden spoon.
So I think that's about it in terms of what we think how it's all going to break down. I really don't. I know the West was really confusing on what we thought was going to happen, but have you looked at the West standings? You're just as confused as we are. We'll find out. Nicholas Murray wrote about it, and he's a smart guy. So you should read that because he has put it in much more intelligent and yet simple words than I ever could. So go read that article. Do we have any final thoughts? No final USL thoughts. I said it, and I'm just going to throw it out there again. I've already named the wooden spoon after him. I wish anyone believed in me like Briggs believes in Edwin Lasso. Anyone.
What he did in the first half with Lasso in the back line and Hamuda in the midfield was never to be done again. I don't need to see that ever.
4 mistakes. A pass back into your own side netting was a great start to the game. Just allowing a Bonifilio to run past you to score. That was cool. And then a bad pass that hits the crossbar. The ball falls to you, in which you slip on it to allow a tap in. That was really cool. I'm glad he was still playing. And I know it's really easy to do the we would have won if we didn't lose. But man, if Edwin Lasso just literally did not play, it's fine. It's great. Everything's fine.
I swear he was good in Tulsa. That's what I will say. I don't know what happened.
I don't know.
Would have won
It's
if we
okay.
didn't lose.
Those are always my favorite posts. Like, look at all these mistakes that happened. We would have won if we just simply did not lose. It's like, yeah, thank you. Wonderful insight. So, how about some final thoughts for the night? Phil, let's start with you.
Yeah, it's been like extremely busy at work, which is not great. But I am watching The Chair Company. For anyone who knows, so Tim Robinson's like sitcom, if you can call it that, on HBO. It is truly insane. It is like the idea that executives greenlit the show does give me some hope that there is still like weird, you could still make like weird stuff and like get it put on, the air. If you watch I Think You Should Leave, it is, if that was a half-hour show without it being skits, it's just like an unhinged comedy, and I'm so excited that it's been made. I have not been able to watch episode 2 yet, but when we hang up, I'm literally watching episode 2, so I will.
There's a bit in the first episode where they just like cut to him sleeping, and he jolts up and goes, "I have the worst pillow in town."
Yeah. Feels like it's made of goddamn metal. Like, so yeah, it's just like it's just an insane show, and keeping the through line on Tim Robinson. I don't know if anybody saw this, but like NBC got the rights to the NBA again, and I know this is going to feel very like far afield, but that means that the return of the iconic Round Ball Rock song is back, and famously, like more recently, I guess, Jason Sudeikis and Tim Robinson were in a sketch on SNL where it was like, this was the original pitch of Round Ball Rock, where there are lyrics to the song that are gimme the basketball, or like basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. And now I can't listen to that song without hearing the sung words. So anyways, yeah, that's, I guess, just like weird Tim Robinson stuff. And yeah, that's that.
Right. Ryan?
Yeah, so I guess over the last year and a half since SI Sports Interactive like decided there wasn't going to be an FBLM 25, I like swore off the series. I was just like, you know what? I'm done with these guys. I'm not going to buy another one. But having seen like the interview from Miles Jacobson, all the, I guess, press release for everything out, Phil's doing the, just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in, and seeing all the usual streamers play the beta or the alpha version of it, I was like, damn it. And I pre-ordered the game before we logged on here. So I'll be able to play the beta of FM26 on Thursday.
And hey, whoever has FM, get in there, scroll the credits, find my name for me because I am credited in it.
Very cool. You were
Nice.
the USL guy?
I helped out with some of the USL stuff, yeah.
I was really excited to get it, and then I saw that Super League was not involved on the women's side, which bummed me out. Hopefully next year that gets added in. I would love that, but I'm excited. I was looking at all of it because I was kind of in the same boat as you, Ryan. I was like, I don't know. We'll see. No international management. Like, we'll see. Then I watched people just play the game, and I'm like, nope, I'm back. I am
And give it 3
right.
months. The databases will get developed, and those like
Yeah.
non-active leagues will get added. That's how I always get the USL into the game, and that's how people get their own custom databases, like an all UK league for like one database. Like it really is a good sandbox type of game. So just give it time, and people will develop everything.
Alex?
Well, not Super League, but I went to the Washington Spirit versus Orlando Pride match over the weekend. We wanted to see Marta's last match in DC. Had a great time watching that. She did not disappoint. Thought she scored a brace, but they ended up taking away one of the goals, calling it an own goal. But yeah, great time. And then other than that, just catching up on what we do in the shadows, which I somehow missed when it came out several years ago. So I'm just binging through that. And finally, I just want to pour one out for Greenville, who is missing the playoffs this year for the first time ever. It just doesn't feel right that Greenville is not in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm going up to Greenville or that area this weekend, and I was really hoping that when we were kind of planning the trip that somehow like it would be like, oh, Greenville will probably be hosting playoffs this year, so we can go check that out. What I thought was clockwork, apparently not.
Take it for granted, and that they can't win the wooden spoon, so they got that going for them.
Yeah. John?
Oh boy. Okay, I watched the original black and white Godzilla from 1954. You know what absolutely rules is seeing the guy who is just wearing the big dino suit stomp all over miniature Tokyo. That is awesome on its own. What I will say is it's also thematically deep because the whole thing is like a metaphor for post-nuclear bomb Japan, and the mix of wait, this is actually epic, and kind of hard hitting caught me out. Because when you think of Godzilla, you're like, it's just going to be the big dumb dino looking guy destroying things. So if you are a dork like me, go check out OG Godzilla.
And John's letterbox is an absolute treat to follow.
High volume. I'm a volume shooter.
Let's see. Today, we had testing going on at our school, which meant I had to sit in a room with one singular child and just make sure that they didn't cheat on a test. And it was just as thrilling as you thought it would be. So I started doing research on a piece of music that we are going to be performing next spring. And I'm the piece of music, like the history behind the words and stuff like that. I didn't realize how deep it was and just how gut wrenching all of it was. Basically, a guy wrote a piece or wrote a poem, and his daughters all passed away in a boat, in a long range boating accident. His wife survived, and he started writing the poem as they were going over the wreckage site. And this poor kid is doing math problems, and I'm just sobbing. I am just crying. And kid's looking at me, I'm looking at him, and we're just trying not to make it a thing, but it was definitely a thing that was happening. So I got in my feelings while a kid was taking a math test today. So that was cool. So, yeah. Oh, also, fun fact, transmissions, not cheap. I don't know if people knew that, but not cheap. So I wasn't radicalized entirely before, but man, this public transit thing sounds like a good idea. Maybe we should look into that.
Yeah, I'll tell you what's nice, not having to have a car.
Why are the missions trans?
These woke car brands at it again. I ain't on no transmission. Have you seen my wife?
Christ.
I don't know what to do with this anymore. With that, for the first and final time tonight, a joke that would make I'm Ryan Alan Underwood So proud. Here's his boys.
Thank you for watching another episode of the USL Show.
The USL Show is now proudly part of the Protagonist podcast family. Please go to protagonistsoccer.com to check out more work. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see everyone again next time.